looked at your windows yet?
No, not really.
You got about a 40,000-foot cloud above the top of the mountain. It's entailing the entire eastern portion of the county and sky. Got quite a lightning storm going on and lots of phone calls. We understand we've also had a slide up there, but we don't know what magnitude at this time.
What level yet, huh?
Yeah. They've activated DES, and we're preparing for whatever's going to happen. I don't know what degree or magnitude the thing is at this time, but it looks like something has definitely happened up there.
Yes.
They're starting to evacuate the Tootle area. There is reported a 5 to a 12-foot flash flood coming down from 12 Mile.
This is going to plug up the cowlitz completely. All the bridges, even Interstate 5, are going to be in jeopardy. This is you probably have heard, this is a solid wall of logs, probably 5 or 6 to even 10 miles long, and it's just getting bigger and bigger.
What's our volume of flow at this point?
Solid wall of logs from wall to wall on the Tootle. The entire bridge span here is one log span, and there's just tons of it coming right behind it. I don't think this bridge will last too much longer. At least it'll be unsafe.
What is your recommendation for Green Acres area then?
Well, the lower river is going to catch it. It's going to bottle up in those canyons, and we're going to have a real problem down below. That's all I can say right now. It looks like it's taking it pretty good up here.
All right, I'm going to dispatch one of my people into the Green Acres area and those areas along that to notify the people just for safety's sake.
Ted, we're going to have a real problem when it comes loose. There's billions and billions of board feet of logs and debris coming down this thing. It's just about to flood stage.
All right. Go ahead, 5-6.
I already went through Green Acres and Camelot area, advised the people to keep high ground. 32, go ahead.
Yeah, what's your 1020?
I'm at the 504 bridge at Castle Rock. The logs are just hitting here. The water's picking up. The bridge is already shaken. We don't know whether it was a tremor or just from the speed of the water.
Any estimate of the magnitude of the log?
It's wall to wall, and we're watching now to see if it's going to take out that city water structure of Castle Rock. So I'll let you know in just a minute, but it's taking everything with it on the banks.
On May 18, 1980, I had been in the U.S. Navy for exactly 3 years. On that morning, I was standing watch on the Whidbey Island Naval Air Station, approximately 150 miles north of Mount St. Helens, in this hangar on the north end of the base. We were aware of the imminent eruption to come, as my sister squadron of CH-46 search and rescue helicopters were flying scientists and county officials to and from the mountain for several weeks. As an air crewman on the C-1A and US-2B aircraft, I too had flown by Mount St. Helens on many occasions. That morning it was uneventful and quiet on the base, until 8:32 a.m. My only indication that Mount St. Helens had finally erupted was when the windows in the hangar began to rattle, and I heard the low rumblings of the explosion. I found the following audio recording of the eruption, which is pretty much exactly what I heard that morning, 150 miles north of the mountain. Prior to the eruption, my recollection of Mount St. Helens looked like these images. Soon after my arrival at the Whidbey Island Naval Air Station in late 1977, up until the day of the eruption, I had flown past Mount St. Helens many times on several flight missions up and down the West Coast. On the return home from these flights, Mount St. Helens stood as an indicator that we were within an hour from landing back at the base. These images depict best what the mountain looked like back then. As Mount St. Helens activity increased in the weeks prior to the eruption, much of the glacial ice and snow had melted off the mountain, causing rivers to swell up and rise, extending miles from the mountain base. A 20-mile circular no-fly perimeter was established around the mountain, and, though we continued to fly by Mount St. Helens, we were considerably farther away than on prior flights. This picture was taken the day before the eruption on May 17, 1980. You can clearly see there is barely any snow or ice left on the mountain. At 8:32 a.m., a magnitude 5.1 earthquake centered directly below the north slope triggered that part of the volcano to slide, approximately 10 to 20 seconds after the shock, followed a few seconds later by the main volcanic blast. Within seconds, over 1,300 feet of the mountaintop was gone, blown out to the north and northwest. The north side of Mount St. Helens became a rubble deposit 17 miles long, averaging 150 feet thick. The landslide temporarily displaced the waters of Spirit Lake to the ridge north of the lake in a giant wave about 600 feet high. An area of about 24 square miles was covered, and the total volume of the deposit was nearly 1 cubic mile of debris. Here's a side-by-side comparison of what Mount St. Helens looked like before and after the eruption. The devastation was immediate and severe, beyond anything you could imagine. Hundreds of thousands of mature pine trees were instantly flattened, snapped like toothpicks by the volcanic blast. Millions upon millions of board feet of pine trees ended up in the north and south forks of the Toutle River and Spirit Lake. Pyroclastic flow deposits stretched for miles to the north. Mud flows filled the rivers and creeks to the south, east, and west of the mountain, and debris avalanche deposits stretched some 15 to 20 miles from Spirit Lake down the north fork of the Toutle River. The eruption caused about $1.1 billion in property damage, which in today's dollars in 2025 amounts to about $4 billion. And the saddest part of the devastating event is approximately 57 people lost their lives that day, and many have never been found. "45 years after Mount St. Helens erupted, I returned to the mountain. I was on my first 2025 road trip of the summer, on my way to the Seattle area to visit some really good friends. During my hitch in the U.S. Navy from the spring of 1977 to the spring of 1981, I never took the opportunity to venture close to Mount St. Helens for a look. So, after more than 45 years, I decided to do just that. On June 28th, I spent most of the day driving on forests and logging roads on the east and northwest sides of the mountain, trying to get as close as possible. I came within 6 to 7 miles of the mountain and was able to capture these images and drone footage. I wasn't at all surprised to see that Mother Nature is reclaiming what is and has always been hers.